Hi everyone, this is probably the toughest video I have ever recorded. So here goes an attempt from the start. This is to address the situation that happened some time ago, a few months back with Shane and Simon. Sorry if I stumble, sorry if I'm not my upbeat usual personality. Again, this is a serious topic. It's really hard. It's really upsetting for me. It makes me feel sad. It makes me feel angry. It makes me feel confused for sure. So I went back and forth a lot about if making this video or not. I did a couple of voice recordings, I took a couple brief notes, and I couldn't put myself through actual recording and eventually putting this on my channel for the YouTube world to see. So that was really hard. Shane actually did it live, and I asked, he was receiving questions, so I asked Shane, do you want to see video responses? And he said yes. So I'm doing this because first of all, I wanted to be helpful for me, and second, so helpful to Shane, and then I guess in third place, helpful to someone else. But yes, I need to put myself first. And the main reason I'm doing this is because it's definitely affecting me. So I started realizing that I couldn't record videos as I was used to, and I was having so much fun doing it. And I stopped, it was getting harder, and I was like, one of the things I pushed myself to do because I had committed to, and I was so excited about that, was my giveaway. And I did that, and I'm glad that it happened. The person who won already contacted me, so just like a little, I guess, the little eye in the middle of the storm. And so I couldn't really enjoy the recording anymore. And then I joined a bunch of lives. I joined, for example, Lisa from Supportive Tarot, which she does a lovely series about self-worth, and I super enjoy it. And now Dustin from Modern Metaphysic Man, and Kelly Fitzgerald from The Truth in Story. And then all these places, of course, Simon is there. And I was watching the live, but I wasn't able to comment freely, or I don't want to say freely or not. I didn't feel comfortable commenting because I don't want to be rude. I don't want to ignore Simon, but I also don't want to be dishonest with me, and I'm feeling all this conflict inside me, and it's just, maybe I'm just trying to avoid confrontation. And so if you were in my last live, I mentioned being in the YouTube world, kind of being in this river, and part of me feels like the river. Like sometimes I feel like the river, sometimes I feel like going through the river, like swimming or canoeing in the river. But I found this huge stone, in the middle of the river, and it's blocking. If you think of the chakras, it's blocking. So I'm like, I cannot stay silent anymore. I need to speak up. I need to address the huge stone that is there. So this is me trying to do this. I want to give a little history on where do I stand with this. So when I started YouTube, I started watching deck reviews, like tarot reviews, oracle reviews, wanted to see if I like the deck, no, in order to purchase it or not. So after a few videos, I ran across Simon's channel, and from his first videos, this was over a year ago. So in his first videos, he was shy and vulnerable and sweet, and he also had a huge weight struggle that I perfectly relate to. No, weight struggle is something really present in my life. So I immediately related to that, no? His weight struggle and him sharing it. And I thought like, wow, this person is sort of like me, in the sense of like he has gone through some issues that I'm going through. No, so I really like that. And then he started Thyroton, of course, and that was the first time I ever joined a live session. I was like, before that, I wasn't even aware there were live sessions. No, I saw videos and I saw comments, but I was like, oh, wait, can we interact? Is this a thing? So I'm always gonna be grateful to Simon for that. No question about it. And I'll address why in a little bit. So that is my brief history, like knowing Simon. And then, for example, with Shane, definitely I knew Shane, because of Simon, because they were doing joint lives, and because Shane was part of Thyroton, and they were like really merging, the two channels, and then Shane had this whole trip idea that evolved and merged into Simon. I don't know, with Simon's plans. So I want to mention a few facts, before going deeper into this. So, fact, Shane's original plan was to travel to India. I think we all know that, and it's a fact. Then another fact is that Simon offered to house him. This came from Simon, and Shane was super excited about it, maybe, sure, but it originally came from Simon. Another fact, they also discussed like, so what if you develop feelings for me, or what if I develop feelings for you? The whole situation, like, is this a purely friendship relationship, or do you expect more or not? And it was clarified that that was not the case at the present, and if it happened, they had like a contingency plan, which the contingency plan Shane has explained, at least after that, was that in any case he will leave Simon's house. And also, like, I know Simon's birthday because it's in October, and my birthday is also in October, so I can quickly relate to that. So I was also excited, because Simon was taking vacation, and they were planning to go to Ireland, to visit another YouTuber, and it was like a super exciting plan, like watching Shane and Simon and following them on blogs. It was gonna be super exciting. I think we were all into that. Maybe we were all wondering if there was like a love relationship, but they were open to clarify that was not the case. And maybe many of us weren't like super convinced about it, but at least publicly that was stated. And then after the events, which Shane has spoken about very, very openly, Simon sort of has spoken about them not that openly. We know for a fact that Simon's first reaction was to jump in a live video and show his side of the story. I think we cannot deny that. And that's the reason that I'm here, right? Because I saw that live. I saw Simon showing a bruised face, being so upset. And then I was upset. I was worried. I didn't know what was going on. I think a lot of us were like, what's going on? Like, is he in danger? Not? And Shane tells a story, and it's his story. I don't want to retell it. I just wanna show those facts, and I wanna show one picture that I really like a lot about truth, and the perspective, and then the true. So let me just pull that. I think you can find it as truth perspective, if you Google it. So just like trying to open the image. Sorry. I thought I had it like more ready. Getting there. Yay. Social media. Not working in my difficult already video. Okay. So it's loading now. And I just want to, sorry for the time and the delay. So see this, I just want to show this because I think this is really important to understand like truth and all that. So let me see if this shows in camera, sort of, yeah. So you can see now that it says this is truth, and then you can see this is true from the different perspectives or projections. So when something happens, like history happens, then if two or more people are involved, each one is going to have their own version of events, and it's valid and it's their true. And then all the different perspectives, if you put them back together, it's the truth. If we had, I don't know, if we were Big Brother or a god, a goddess with all seeing, we will see the big picture, right? As like watching a movie or something. So we will see like all the different angles and aspects and know like this is the truth. But when we are trying to reconstruct this from human experience, is listening to the two versions and putting it back together to what actually happened. So, no question, I believe Shane. I've believed Shane from the start. I also believe Simon to a degree on what he has chosen to share. Sometimes I do believe that we lie to ourselves, and the lie is so effective and so excellent and is there as a necessity of protection that we actually end up believing it. I don't know if this is the case with Simon. I really don't know. It's a possibility. But, I mean, he's entitled to his side of the story as well. So, I don't know if this will have, well, for sure it will have a repercussion, or ramifications. But again, I couldn't stay, I need to speak up. I could not stay silent anymore. I'm gonna be repeating that because that is what's keeping me going. And this is gonna be probably a little long video, sort of a rant, but because in the mood I am, it's not like a fast rant, so stay if you wanna hear my take on this or not. So, going back to Simon a little bit, for sure I admired him. I was a fan of Simon. I admire him. I look up to him. He did me a great favor when Kelly Bird, got her hands on a Loteria deck and she was really disappointed. One of the things that really inspired me to do more videos was like contributing to that, because I live in Mexico City, so loterias are really in hand to me. So I went out, searched for them, and did a couple videos. She liked some, she didn't like some, but she was excited to see and because we fight for this, we fight for human rights, we fight for equality, we fight for what we want to believe it's a better world, at least in our perspective. So I wanted to show, that yes, when tradition is wrong, we should definitely not stay behind tradition. I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent, but the short story is I wanted to send her the decks, but wanted to be a surprise. So I reached out to Simon and asked, like, can you, I please send this to you, and if you could forward this to Kelly. He was more than welcome to do so. He didn't charge me a thing for the postage. So he was really kind in that sense, and I experienced this firsthand. And this comes like, things are not black and white. People are certainly not black and white. We are a bunch of things, we have done really good things in our life and really bad things in our life, maybe to different degree or extensions. For example, I don't know, people that are in jail or something, if they murder someone, well, probably all the good that you have done is not gonna offset that you actually murdered someone. And that's why we have laws, that if you cross a line, and well, actions have consequences. Every action has a consequence, good, bad, neutral, whatever we want to call it. It's just physics, it's Newton's third law. It's like magic rule, like what goes around comes around. If you do an action, you will receive a reaction. That's just how it works in our universe. So whether Simon did this with intention or not, whether he was conscious or not, whether there was a purpose or not, the fact is that he abused Shane and that he hurt Shane. Now, I understand, that sometimes we hurt people and we don't want to. But at least in my case, when I hurt someone and I really, really care about them, if they tell me, you hurt me and I didn't mean to, then I apologize because I care about them. I don't want to see them hurt. Maybe I did something and wasn't aware that it was going to hurt them. And I'm not saying like I should flagellate myself, if it was not what I intended to from the first go. But it definitely doesn't, I definitely don't struggle with apologizing and explaining my actions if needed. And I think when there is a true relationship with the other person, you will amend things, you will find a way back, you will find a bridge, or you will find a way to repair what was damaged. Now the damage is there, so it's sort of like, well, if you broke a piece of porcelain and then you try to put it back together, maybe it will look really good, but the crack is there, so it's like scars, so if we hurt ourselves, yeah, it's gonna heal. But depending on the damage, you're gonna be more or less able to see the scar. So we're not changing the past here, but we can certainly try to make amends. And other things that were established are like, someone said, well, what if Shane was a woman? We wouldn't be questioning any of this. And when I heard that, I was like, this is very true. If we recollect what happened, from Shane's perspective, think about it as a woman, she will be protected right away. Thankfully, a lot of ground has been made, and maybe the process has been abused in a way that a woman can cry wolf, recollecting that children's story of crying wolf, Peter and the wolf, and it's not true. And it doesn't help anyone, but we certainly want to. So when women have been victims of abuse, from the first start you want to believe them, and we hope that people are honest. And this is not something easy to admit, but every human being is different, and every human being processes abuse and mistreat in a different way, so it's really hard to pinpoint a natural reaction from this abuse. And there are people in the community who are far more experts than I am on this. I'm just talking from my own point of view and my own experience. And I also think that all this conflict has created a sort of unseen and unwanted division. No, it almost feels like it's like Shane versus Simon and followers from each side versus each other, and I think that's nonsense. No, I still like a lot of people that are doing Tharathon, for example, but I also understand, for example, Shane not wanting to join that and trying to, I think he said, quote unquote, boycott it. And I also understand that. I try to be neutral at first, no, when this whole thing happened. And I was like, because still both of them were dear to me. Shane probably doesn't remember this, but that's why I have the 8 cons tattoo there. And it is because Shane did a reading for me with that deck, and it turned out to be a very powerful reading. And it was incredibly helpful at the time he did it, and I needed that. So for that, I'll always be grateful to Shane as well. Far more than I enjoy his videos, his personality. I understand a little bit of the drama, no? Him being a Cancer and all that, but that's something that makes me believe him a bit more than because he's so open and he has shared so much, no? And as someone said, like, he has told the story many times. Versus Simon, no? Who it feels like he's trying to put things under the rug. Which is valid, but the problem is, well, Simon, you started this whole thing. You started the snowball. And the snowball has rolled down, and it's a huge, massive ball now that impacted a lot of us. And maybe you didn't foresee it going that far, but it went that far. And in that sense, yeah, sometimes I don't know if Shane is expecting an apology. I think he is, and maybe it's not gonna happen ever. And it will be best not to expect it anymore. But I think it's fair, no, because if Simon started this, I think it's fair to ask that there is a closure to some extent. Maybe there were attempts, no, when we saw all those joint lives, and someone also said that confused people if they were like sort of in okay terms and things were like already being ironed out and the problem was mended or solved. We later realized like Shane disappeared, no? He went MIA and you tried to reach out and he didn't reply. I wasn't super close to him, so maybe, I don't know, I texted him a few times over Facebook Messenger, and we saw a couple poems, I think, and then he disappeared. And then he came back, no? And we also heard the story again 6 months after, and he's still hurting. And some people are like, well, you should move on. This is water under the bridge and all that. But it's like, you cannot put a timeline into grief. And I agree. That's why I also have like these cards there. And it was funny because I adore this deck, the Illuminated Earth. It's not a commercial for the deck. But I was pulling cards and they start coming into like this order. So you were like, and they made a lot of sense with the situation that is going on. So that's why they are my background as well. And I realized that, yeah, I tried to put things under the rug as well. And that doesn't work, No matter how much shit you want to hide, it's still there. It's still gonna smell. If you don't want to see it, fine. But you can feel it and you can smell it. So it's better, I think, to address things and to clean it up. And to say, like, so this is what I'm saying, like, I'm not okay with this. So, yeah, in that sense, I guess that I mean, I should say, that Shane is a victim, victim is not the word, an easy word. I do feel that in the situation that happened, Shane is the victim, but he's definitely not weak. No, and I think the total opposite. On the contrary, he defended himself, no, and that started the whole problem because he wasn't a complying victim. He fought back, and then this allowed Simon to take a victim place instead, no, and to say, I was the one attacked, I was the one who was offended. And to an extent, yes, maybe so, but then we think about it, no? So Simon is older than Shane. Simon is well established, no, as a person, no, his own place, a good job, a good amount of money. He was able to offer Shane house, no, he's able to travel. And we could see Shane struggling, no? He was telling us about his jobs, that he doesn't make that much money. He's still, he's much younger than Simon, no? And we could say Simon, quote unquote, also has his blind followers. And maybe I was one of them, I don't know. Maybe I was blind to a degree, no? Because I put Simon on a pedestal, and that is my own fault. I actually tend to do this. Putting people on pedestals. I'm learning not to. I'm not blaming the people, no, because no one is there like telling you, oh, put me on a pedestal. Maybe not directly, no, with some actions more or less, no, like these called gurus. I'm not saying like someone is calling himself a guru, not at all, but sometimes they are like, oh yes, admire me, look up at me, see how great I am, and then we fall into that, no, and put them on pedestals. And I know some women have defended Simon, and I think he has established now that he likes men, but he's also like gender fluid, or I don't know. But for example, if being whatever you are, define yourself whatever you want, if a person is not attracted to you, he's not gonna attempt anything really. So you might will feel super safe, no? So for example, I'm gonna go to the extreme, no? So if I'm with a pedophile, no, and I'm 30 something years old, of course I'm gonna be safe with him. He's not attracted to me in whatsoever manner, no? But the moment you put him with kids, well, the kids are not gonna be safe because he's a pedophile and it's a condition, and a sick condition. So I went to the extreme just to prove a point there into, like, I'm not saying Simon is a danger to everyone, no, because some people were concerned about this tarot band that he's putting together, or like Tharaton, and I feel like we all have many sides, no? Some people also say like, well, Shane is all flawed and he's an addict and he's like, he has all these disorders, no, that he publicly recognizes. Well, good for Shane. No, I think we all have flaws. We all are damaged to a certain degree. And we're just trying to put together the pieces. We're just trying to understand who we are. We are asking the big question, who am I? Because I think one of the greatest objectives in life for everyone is be true to yourself. And to be true to yourself, you need to know who you are. And who you are is not a fixed thing. No, we're always evolving. We're always changing. So, for example, if we see Simon in his first videos, he's definitely not the same person that he is now. And I can see that now. You evolve, you grow, you become more confident when recording, you become more experienced. So that is definitely a growing process. But also, then the thing that doesn't resonate well is like, when having all these followers, you come to have a sort of power to an extent, and that can turn ugly really fast. And I think in this case it turned ugly, no, like using followers to protect yourself and attack other person. So in that sense, I think, no, a lot of Simon followers are not wanting to see the truth. And this is also maybe not Simon's fault. No, I don't say like I don't think he's like telling them like, oh, attack Shane, go and attack them. No, not at all. And people should be responsible for their own actions. But it's like, to an extent, you're sort of like promoting it, no? Maybe he has asked people like not to do it. I don't know. I'm not part of any Facebook group anymore. I think when all this started happening, I was still in some social media. That is done for me. I think social media is the devil. In a sense, the devil can be super attractive, but it ties you with chains, no? And as there's a saying goes, even if the cage is made of gold, it's still a cage. So social media, I think that's a golden cage. And I didn't want to be part of it anymore. For the good, for the bad. Maybe people say like I'm missing out. Maybe. But I'm also protecting myself and liberating myself. So that's why I think the only social media that counts would be YouTube, if you want to view that as social media. And besides that, yep, I only talk to people through chatting apps, no, like WhatsApp, like Messenger, and it's people that to some extent I know or I have contacted. It's not a massive thing, no, it's not just to follow anyone. I don't follow anyone. Not Shane, not Simon, not anyone. Not even people I'm a fan of, no? Because yeah, you can be fan of someone and follow them to an extent. But still, I think we're all human beings with flaws, with weaknesses, and with strengths. And we try to play to them as best as we can. So, well, I'm gonna try to stay back on point. I know this is long and ranty and slow. I'm trying to cover all I want to say. I didn't want to overthink it a lot. I'm trying to speak from my feelings and my understanding in something that makes sense, and it's trying to heal and to be helpful to anyone watching this. But as I say again, mainly to myself, to Shane, and then to anyone watching this. So the pattern that started me worrying was Simon getting into more of these conflicts, into more of these quote-unquote scandals. No, so we had the Harry Shook deal that was also like, it really it was also like, what, the tarot that you're promoting is also stealing artwork from another. And I've said this and I defended Simon, like, he didn't know about it and he's not to blame. But again, we're like, why are you not speaking up? And I think in one, he touched briefly on it, and he's like, I'm taking legal action, so that he needed to stay silent, and it's okay. But then we go again, now before that there was an incident with Brad. And Brad, if you're watching this, I don't agree with a lot of things you say, and maybe I don't like your approach to a lot of things, but I respect you. I need to respect you. I respect everyone out there putting videos or commenting or watching videos, because that's one of our basic community ties, no? Like respecting each other. So even if I don't agree with you, I respect you. And the way things went down with Simon and Brad was not pretty either. I didn't watch the Benabel video. I would understand that people feel protective of Benabel. She's a great influence, for tarot, and to an extent I can understand that people felt protective and tried to attack Brad, and then Brad probably tried to attack something else, but it's just like, again, it snowballs. But then you start seeing like a pattern. And there was also a pattern that really bothered me, and it was one time, and yes, I'm saying names because I think we need to to stop walking on eggshells and seeing names and calling things by what we see. And maybe I'm wrong, no, but this is how this is my side of the truth, no, this is my own perspective, this is how I feel things. So there was this one time where Matty from Cordery's Table, he was having a hard time doing a live and doing videos. So Zach went ahead and posted a video trying to help him. And I was really grateful to that, no? And Zach looking out for another tarot member. And then I don't know why Simon took it the wrong way. And then he did a video response, but it felt like he was attacking Zach. And I wanted to clarify that, but why was Simon attacking Zach when Zach was trying to support Matt? That felt also a little confusing for me, and then things didn't start to feel right after that. I think that was probably the breaking point for me. And then there were like a couple more instances, no? I think Simon has a natural flirting behavior when he is in chat with many male owner channels, which could be his natural self, I don't know. But it's definitely a pattern, and I guess it was a pattern with Shane, no, and how Shane became this the perfect target, no, for all these intentions Simon had or didn't have, but it was sort of like the match, no? And I definitely feel Shane was abused, no, when he quotes and says like Simon called him like you ungrateful bitch, and this is when Shane bitch slapped him. You can watch, Shane has a video that explains all the story and all the videos, so please go watch that if you're interested in the whole story, and it's better if you watch it, no, from the horse's mouth, as you say. But I can relate to that because I feel we have all been discriminated in some aspect of our life. We have all been abused in some aspect of our life. And it's not okay. It's not okay. Definitely not okay. And it's not acceptable. And I wasn't sure if to share this or not. I mean, I guess that the people are still watching. I think they are interested to a degree. And again, this is really hard for me. But I also was a victim of abuse to an extent. I'm not saying I was raped, no. Thankfully, luckily, and knock on wood, that never happens to me. I do feel for the people that have experienced that. I'm also not saying that Shane was raped, no. But in the sense of abuse, and especially sexual abuse, there are a lot of levels and degrees of that. So when I was a little kid, and by a little kid I mean 8 or 10, and this happened in public transportation, and I didn't understand what happened, but I could feel uncomfortable, no, because a guy was like rubbing against me, like my shoulder or something, and I didn't understand what was happening. And again, I was there, no, in the metro, on the subway, or on the bus the other time, because as I recollected, and I don't know how much my mind blocked or not, or to protect myself, there were so many people around it, and no one said anything. No one did anything. And I'm sure it was noticeable. So that's what I don't agree with. If we see abuse, if we see someone getting hurt, are we gonna stay silent? Are we not gonna do anything? And I realized it was not okay for me, and I wish someone had said, this is wrong, stop. And that is what I'm trying to do. I think what happened to Shane was wrong, and it should stop. It should try to be mended as much as possible. We cannot go back in time and fix things and change things, but we can definitely try to make things better in order for us to continue in our way, no? So going back to my river analogy, I have this huge rock in front of me. So what am I gonna do about it? I don't want to ignore it. I don't want to ignore it anymore. So either I try to move it, either I try to break it, either I try to jump or go around it. But the rock is there. It's not going away on its own. So this is my attempt of dealing with the rock, dealing with this huge mess that sort of started dividing what we tried to think was the tarot community. Again, community is a term that has been questioned and talked about many times. I also don't think we are a community. Definitely not. I think it's the tarot sphere and the tarot world, and there are like many parts to it. I don't hate Simon, because that came up somewhere, like people say like, I feel that you're trying to convince us to hate Simon, or that is the objective. If again, that is not my objective. I definitely don't hate him. I'm not trying to say like unsubscribe from Simon and go subscribe for Shane. It's not about that. It's really not about that. It's about like speaking up and trying to do what feels right. That is what I'm trying to do. And I can say that it deeply saddens me and hurts me, but yes, I no longer trust Simon. Simon, if you are by any chance watching this, I cannot trust you anymore because of this. And it doesn't, I don't want to forget all the good things, no, because we have all these examples, no, for example, when the creators are like discovered doing something, for example, the Osho tarot, or like, and we know Osho, no, like some of the things he did are not acceptable at all. But it doesn't, for example, if you had the Osho San tarot and you enjoyed it, his actions don't affect, like, shouldn't affect that. No, for example, all these movie stars and TV producers and movie producers, now we know all the things they did, and they are probably shitty persons and you don't want to support them anymore. But if I watch one of those movies, if I watch one of those performances and I deeply enjoyed it, it also doesn't take it away, no? And as I said, humans in general are really, really complex beings. We have a lot of emotions and feelings and thought processes besides a ton other thing going on through us. And maybe every creature living and not living in the universe has a complex process as well. But what we can try to understand or relate to, no, because we speak, quote unquote, the same language. No, maybe we speak different languages, but these are words, no, that we hear and we can communicate or translate. And we know, no, that things are not black and white. You cannot say one person is good and the other person is bad. We are complex human beings. What I think is the problem with me is what Shane is also hurting is, why does the other person, if they didn't mean no harm, why are they trying to push it aside? Why are they trying to hide under the rock information? Why are they preferring just to brush things away, no, and make things go away and say like, oh, it's that person's fault, I have nothing to do with it? Because I don't think as I said again, sorry I'm repeating myself, but this whole thing started for the tarot sphere when a video was put up by Simon showing his side of the story. So, to an extent, I think it's fair to ask that there is a closure. And as I said before, many there were attempts, no, because we saw these joint lives and everything that didn't feel a closure at all, and maybe expecting a closure is too much. But this is at me least also putting this video, no, this super long video, as trying to speak up, to express my feelings, to make it clear where I stand. And these are my two grains of sand, no, in the whole ocean, no, in the whole sea. And we can also see, like, I guess, no, that lotus flower is a metaphor that I really like, and I chose to relate to that, to the lotus flower, because as you can see, no, a lot of the cards here are, no, support, resilience, anguish, grief, attachment, vulnerability, and they go to difficult emotions, but then they come, no, to, so one of the cards that was after all this process was harmony. And this is what I'm trying to achieve, no? I'm trying to make peace with this, to be true to who I am, to know that I've done what I could do to help the situation, and to continue my path, no? I don't blame anyone else who's trying to move on or who doesn't want to speak about it. It's definitely, I mean, this is Shane and Simon, right? And maybe we want to contribute to that, but it's definitely their own thing. And yes, to a degree we were all involved, which is why I feel like I need to express how I was affected, and I need to express my feelings and my issues around it, no, because it's definitely affecting me for sure, and I think it's definitely affecting a lot of people. And everyone is entitled to their own attempt to heal, to move on, to make peace with it. No, just to heal from this wound, because it is definitely a wound. A wound that was caused by an awful situation, and I don't know what's going to happen. No, we have tarot cards and oracle cards, but I think a lot of us are like, we don't do this in a divination, like look into the future, but more into a look into our own shadow, no, our own self, our own unconsciousness, and see what makes sense, no? So what I want to achieve is that beautiful harmony that you can see there, no, with a rainbow. And to be in a place where I don't want to be rude to Simon, I don't want to ignore him, but I definitely cannot be just like ignoring the fact, no, that I don't feel okay with what he did. And I want to support Shane because I think he's a lovely person, and that he was the victim of an awful situation that, again, he really fought for himself and stood up and fought back. And I think that's admirable. So yes, this is where I stand. This is how I feel. This is me trying to search for a personal healing first. No, I'm gonna say it again. Then this is helpful for Shane, hopefully. And then maybe this is helpful for someone else. So thank you for watching this extra long, slow, paused, repetitive video, but I needed to put it out there. So thanks everyone, and thank you for, yeah, I think I can breathe much better, and I do feel like a weight is lifted, and hopefully this is for the better and it's really helpful. Thank you.